Now, today's council meeting that had been called to elect a new mayor of Mangaung has been postponed until further notice. Now, yesterday, council elected the DA's Moloko Davies as speaker. This means the opposition has taken control in the council, where the ANC has the majority of seats. Now, some ANC councillors voted for the DA's Davies. Moloko Moloto has more details for us this morning. Good morning, Moloko. You know, developments in Mangaung are quite interesting. So some ANC members decided to vote for a DA speaker yesterday, and we understand now they're possibly going to be put through a lie detector test. What's happening?
Hello, Mfundo Mabalani. Well, the African National Congress has the majority of seats in Mangaung, but they are leading through slender majority, specifically by one seat. Now, we have seen this in the past, where even some members of the ANC council voting against their very own budget, voting with the opposition. Today, actually yesterday to be specific, they voted against their own candidate. The newly elected regional chairperson of the ANC in Mangaung, Lawrence Mataye, was up against Moloko Davies from the Democratic Alliance for the position of council speaker. Now, in total, some of the councillors did not come or attend council yesterday. They were on leave. Others, we are told, were sick. But in total, 96 councillors cast their ballots yesterday, and out of 96, 3 ballots were spoiled, and the valid ballots were about 93. Then 53 went to Moloko Davies, and the ANC's Lawrence Mataye got 40 votes. Now, that means the new council speaker comes from the opposition, from the ANC. Of course, these developments come after the ANC in the province decided to remove Mxolisi Siyonzana as the executive mayor. He has already resigned both as the executive mayor and as councillor, but also Stephanie Lochman Naidu, who was the speaker, was instructed as well, along with Siyonzana, to resign both as speaker and as a councillor by the African National Congress. Now, I'm told by my sources that when the city manager called yesterday's special meeting to elect the speaker, he was within his rights in terms of the law, because there was no speaker at the time. But once the speaker got elected, the city manager had no authority to call another meeting. That was the responsibility of the speaker entirely. So what I'm told was that the city manager called these two meetings to follow each other. He called the meeting for yesterday and called the meeting for today. And then they realized, upon the election of the new speaker, they realized that it was going to be wrong to proceed with today's council meeting. So the new speaker, I am told, is now in a meeting with some senior officials from the city. I tried to reach out to her, and I was told she is locked in a meeting. She still has to come up with a new date wherein the new executive mayor would be elected. The difficulty is that because of the factions that are so deeply entrenched here in Mangaung and the Free State, some of the councillors who contested for the regional executive committee of the ANC earlier last year and lost, are now rebelling against the instructions of the ANC. And indeed, we heard that the ANC want to put the councillors through a polygraph test to determine as to who might have voted with the opposition to install the DA's Moloko Davies.
But clearly there are a lot of divisions here, because that was going to be my next question around the ANC members, that perhaps they are quite aggrieved by the imposition from National when they came and essentially removed the mayor as well as the speaker here. So it seems there's still some sort of anger pertaining to how that matter was handled.
No, absolutely. In fact, this is just the manifestation, Mfundo. What you are seeing, this division playing themselves out in public, having spilled into the council. The root cause is the fact that when the current regional executive committee of the ANC in Mangaung was elected, there were some unhappy ANC members who alleged that there was manipulation during the branch nominations towards that particular regional conference. And they went to court, to the High Court, in wanting to interdict that particular regional conference. They lost their case in court, and as a result, the regional conference was permitted to proceed. What then happened was that the disgruntled members who lost in court then held their parallel conference at another separate venue, and then they elected their leaders there. So there were two parallel leaders leading up to the provincial conference early this year. And what then happened was that obviously they were also divided in council, because some of those councillors supported the faction that was elected at the President Hotel, whereas the other faction supported the other leaders that was elected at that particular venue. Now, it is now showing at the in council, because the executive mayor who was fired did not support, as well as the speaker, they did not support the newly elected REC leaders who are endorsed by the Provincial Executive Committee as well as the National Executive Committee of the ANC. And for the national leaders to come and announce, and one would say that they had to act because this municipality is dysfunctional, because it is even under national administration. The province tried to intervene, it failed. But some people are saying blaming the former mayor who had been in a position for 1 year is unfair, because he also had his powers curtailed, because he never had absolute authority or executive authority, in that he was managed by the administration or the intervention team.
But then now there's an even bigger problem that seems to be brewing, because it seems the issues in council are now spilling over to the administrative function of the municipality, which lies with the municipal manager in his decision now to call another meeting when there's already a speaker. Are there murmurs around why the MM would decide to call a meeting when there's now a legitimate speaker? Is it perhaps confusion on the part of the MM? He was unaware of the rules, or really that was deliberate?
Well, from what I was told, it was a mistake, because remember, until yesterday, there was no speaker, there was no executive mayor, there was no deputy executive mayor. And in terms of legislation, when you come as council to elect the speaker, the city manager or the municipal manager would be the one who calls that meeting, and he will have to preside over that particular council meeting for the election of the speaker. And once the speaker is elected, the city manager will literally step down from that seat and the new speaker will take over. So from what I was told, the city manager called those two meetings days before yesterday. And it was then realized later that while yesterday's meeting was legally and lawfully constituted, if they had to continue with today's meeting, there were going to be problems, because this one, or the meeting that would elect the executive mayor, must be called by the speaker, because you cannot elect the executive mayor if you don't have the speaker in office. So from what I'm told, it was just an oversight or a mistake, and that is why they have had to cancel it. But also, I guess it is giving the ANC an opportunity to go back to the drawing board, since some of their members have now clearly voted with the opposition. The question is, what are they going to do? Do they even know who those councillors are? Are they going to purge them? Are they going to say all the members of the ANC in council must be removed, and then you bring new councillors? It's a conundrum. It's a major dilemma for the ANC. But the question is, if you say fire all the councillors and call for a by-election, there's no guarantee that they will win back this municipality. As I said, the ANC is leading this municipality by a slender majority. They have just one extra seat in council.
What a dilemma. Moloko, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for that update. That's our reporter, Moloko Moloto, is out in Mangaung for us following the election of a speaker.